Alright, today it is finally day of the ominous Why Doflamingo is my favorite character in One Piece re-upload. As you guys probably already know, this will be the last one that I re-upload since that was all of them. And now I'm going to be changing my Friday schedule to not necessarily One Piece videos, just different anime videos. But I'll talk more about that kind of stuff in the end, so let's get into the shit. Now you have to understand that a lot of the points I'm making in this video are going to be completely subjective since I'm talking about why Doffy is my favorite character. But at the same time, I think they're objective enough that it makes it so it should be a lot harder for you to hate him after watching this video. So really, regardless of whether or not you love him, hate him, or pretty much indifferent, I think there's going to be a lot worth listening to in this video because I would be surprised if you didn't like him more so than you already did by the end of it. So it seems like when people don't like Doffy, the biggest reason is because, well, obviously he's completely evil. His only real goal is to fuck up the world as much as possible except for a very few select people who are within his crew, so it's not like he's noble in any way, shape, or form. But it's not so much his goals or ideals that I like watching him for, it's just the amazing backstory he has and how he changes throughout his story. I obviously don't agree with the idea that he just goes around killing innocent people, not even for a purpose, but just for fun, but it's what got him to the point that he thinks that this is a good decision that makes it so interesting. And even though he probably has to be the most selfish motherfucker in this entire series, it's the fact that he is this and knows it, and he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't try acting like he's a good person in any way. No, he fucking owns it. I feel like the quote, "the weak can't choose the way they die," really sums up this part of his character. He's pretty much saying if someone is weak and they don't want to get themselves to be stronger, then why should they be able to choose the way that the strong treat them? And he doesn't do this while he's just being a pushover. No, he's a complete monster, and like I've said in previous videos, I think there's a very good chance he could be Admiral level. But whoa, I'm not trying to start a war in the comments section, specifically targeting me. We're more talking about his character here rather than his actual power, but I did have to slip that one in there. His backstory can be summarized to 4 main points in his life that really got him to where he is now. He was born as a celestial dragon and took absolutely full advantage of that power. He was forcibly stripped of that title and hunted down by regular humans with no way of defending himself since he was a small child. His mother died while he could do absolutely nothing to help her, therefore triggering his Conqueror's Haki awakening and leading him to the point where he killed his father. And then the Don Quixote family is formed and he rises to power slowly but surely, and not really so slowly. And I know a lot of people are like, what do you mean? What about the whole Corazon thing? That was really important. But not really in developing his character at all. I wouldn't even say it actually had any impact him at all whatsoever. For one thing, Corazon was the, well, Corazon of the crew originally, so he was always off on missions on his own or whatever. And even though they were biological brothers, which Doffy did seem to take actually pretty seriously, they didn't actually talk all that much in their adult lives. And Corazon acted like he couldn't talk, and Doffy had absolutely no idea about this, so they weren't really that close, obviously. Sure, he wasn't too happy about having to kill his own brother, but I mean, he killed him, then he was like, well shit, that wasn't fun. But fuck it, let's get the hell out of here. And after that, nothing he did from then on changed. Like, he still had the same goal, he still did things the same way, he was the same exact person. And that's actually another thing that I think is cool about Doffy. I think that if anyone gets in his way, no matter his history with them, no matter who they are, he will fucking kill them with no remorse. This would be a very hard thing for most people to do. I mean, if he actually did care about someone, which we have seen he is capable of doing, you would imagine he has some kind of humanity in him, and it would be difficult for him to kill them even if they were betraying him in some way. But that has clearly been shown not to be the case in the Corazon situation, and while I don't think that's actually really a good trait to have, I think it's really badass and cool to see in action. Another really cool thing about Doffy that I think is totally understated and overlooked is the fact that he is almost always smiling. He wasn't so much in the Dressrosa arc, but he was getting fucked in the ass every 5 minutes, so it's not really that hard to believe, and he would just get pissed for like a minute and then start smiling even bigger than we've ever seen every time this kind of stuff happened anyway, so he definitely made up for it. The whole time watching this series, I just thought it was so awesome. Every time this guy was on screen, he would just be smiling like a maniac, this badass voice, and he would just be doing the scariest things you've ever seen, but just smiling the whole way, just like, yeah, fuck you. He'll be giving badass speeches, smiling like a crazy man in front of one of the Whitebeard commanders, not even doing anything, just giving his speech, because he doesn't give a shit. He knows that that guy can't touch him because it's a fucking animal. And I know that subconsciously a lot of people agree with me on this because of when it was first seen that Monet and Vergo died from Doffy, and you know, he like put down his phone, he stopped smiling, took his coat and started walking to the window, and he wasn't smiling. This was like a huge moment for everyone. I remember when I first saw that, I was like, holy shit. It's about to go down. The fact that he just smiles all the time shouldn't have that huge effect, but it's the way that he does it that makes it have such a powerful meaning. Another thing I like about him is his ability to channel his negative emotions into positive outcomes. Specifically, I'm talking about his anger. Really, I don't know if there's any other example of this, but yeah, he gets really pissed off all the time and uses it to benefit himself and further his goal. For example, when Luffy and Law get onto the rooftop, he says, "I'm smiling because I can't get any madder right now." I'm not really 100% sure on this is really quite largely speculation, but I believe that what was implied there is that he was happy that he was so angry because he knew the amount of power this was going to give. He was thinking like, oh yeah, I'm so pissed off, I am just going to wipe the floor with these idiots. And he wasn't really wrong. He completely destroyed Law, and he definitely beat Luffy, so there is that. Another time I thought this was particularly evident was when Luffy used his Conqueror's Haki on him and he was kind of fatigued or whatever, and then he completely snapped out of it and became more powerful than we've ever seen after having a small mental breakdown and smiling while looking super pissed off. To sum things up here, I love Doffy as a character because of his amazing character traits, his awesome backstory, and his unlimited ambition. His ability to smile in almost any situation is one of the scariest things I've ever seen, and I would never under any circumstance want to meet someone who is capable of such a feat in the real world. He started out as a god, was forced down into the human world, and is clawing his way back up to being a god with seemingly no one stopping him until the Straw Hat Alliance came in. And I think he is one of the coolest people ever because when his absolute power was taken away from him and he was given absolutely no way of getting it back because he's in a world where that's impossible, he decided, well, you know what, if I can't get it back, then fuck you, you can't have it either, I'm going to kill every single one of you. All of that is pretty much why Doffy is my favorite character in One Piece, and possibly any other form of literature. If you enjoyed this video, remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment letting me know what you thought about this, if it was better or worse than the old Doffy video, as well as any ideas you have for future videos. Remember, my new Friday videos are going to be anime related, not just One Piece, so you can leave me ideas about that kind of stuff too. Just keep in mind that I only really watch the more popular ones with a few exceptions, so there's a high chance that I will have not seen them. I don't watch like a shit ton of anime, just kind of like a low to medium amount. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Talk to you guys Sunday.